It's Madmen Sports. It's your boys, Diamond Dave, Zach,
We made it.
Jake. What's up?
1-0 in the playoffs. We'll take it.
About to be 2-0.
We'll see.
Depends on who you ask, obviously.
Tough start. Didn't go as planned, but it won, so who cares, right? It's the playoffs. It's a divisional game, as you can see from the Bengals-Ravens game.
There's no crows beating.
That divisional games are not easy in the playoffs. They know you more than anyone would.
That rings true for the Bengals and Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot to dive into. You know, at the end of the day, I've seen Josh Allen play perfect, and the Bills look good on offense and lose. Last year, 13 seconds. This year, I'll take an ugly win because it means you won, and it's the playoffs. You only have to do it 3 more times. I've seen this team win over 50 times the last 3 years.
That's a lot of times.
I'll take it. Probably 50 times the last 4 years, but whatever.
Respect.
Bills are good.
Bills are good.
Move on.
Oh, yeah.
We got some injury report news for the Bills. Everyone but Jordan Poyer practiced today in some capacity, which Poyer has already come out and said he's going to practice, so it doesn't really matter.
He's going to play.
He's going to play, yeah. He's talked about it on Twitter last night that it's going to be his last home game with the Bills, he believes, which I believe it too, so, you know, good thing he's ahead of that and kind of gets that going there. You don't pay 31-year-old safeties that are hurt all year. He's not that he's not valuable. Just have to find another route.
He has been pretty quiet for a couple weeks, though.
100%. But he's also playing with a torn meniscus. You take it, you leave it. At the end of the day, you need a veteran back there because we're now down to DeMar and Low back there.
Which had a pick.
Had a pick accidentally. He was out of place, he said.
And a sack.
So we got a lot going on back there. Maybe you'd find some. We'll talk about it in March about what we're going to get out of the safety round. Last March we accidentally got Von Miller, so I'll take accidents as they come, and maybe we'll end up with who knows, Jesse Bates.
Tyron Matthew.
Eat that.
That guy's probably still under contract.
Yeah, but maybe Jesse Bates comes. Who knows? Save a Bengals safety. Maybe we'll sneak him back over here. Bengals injury report. Alex Kappa, the right guard, did not practice for a second day in a row. He was reportedly on a scooter still, not putting any weight on his ankle.
It's hard to play a football game a couple days later.
If you're on a scooter, you're not playing football.
Yeah, but I do worry, you know. You never know. Trey Flowers is their tight end killer. He's the guy they put up against their tight ends. Trey Flowers, he has not practiced for a second straight day with a hamstring injury. I can't recall whether or not he played last week or not.
I think I'm okay with a quiet day from Dawson Knox. If Trey Flowers does play.
I hope he doesn't. How about that? Jonah Williams, tackle out of Texas.
He is a walking cast right now.
Yeah, his knee is dislocated, so he is not expected to play, which that I 100% believe. The fallout to him to Carmen, who went to Clemson. I remember him coming out a couple years ago. Not a huge fall off there because Jonah Williams was not good. And Carmen's not much better, but I think the Bills need to get, we're talking about 2 offensive linemen out, Lele Collins, the right tackle, out for the year. We're talking about 3 offensive linemen possibly not playing for them. You need to get pressure with the front 4. Free up the back 7, make it a 6-on-4 up there in the trenches with the quarterback, the 5 linemen versus the 4 defensive linemen. Wreak havoc, make it a 7v5 up there, and let's make it happen.
And you need a great game from Greg, AJ, and Boogie.
Boogie's been having a
Shaq.
great.
And Shaq.
I think Shaq's got some juice.
Are we getting Jordan Phillips back?
I hope so. It seems like he's practicing more this week than last week. Ed Oliver's practiced entirely. So we're going to have... And Daquan Jones, who I believe has come into one of the best defensive tackles they have the last couple of years. Daquan Jones is wreaking havoc with pressure up there. I think Daquan Jones and Jordan Phillips rotating and giving the guards and center hell might be the key to this game.
I actually think Boogie Bastion's been our best defensive end. Ever since Von's been out, Boogie Bastion's been a monster.
Yeah, we've had some good games. Greg really may be the difference maker. If you're going to send pressure with 4, quick slants may be in effect. And the only way to stop quick slants is get a 7-foot defensive end on there. Just get your arms up as quick as possible. He might be walking that right tackle back. If they can't get pressure with 4 guys, I'm going to be upset on Monday.
Yeah, especially because historically Bengals line has been putrid.
it's their Achilles heel. As in recent years, the Buffalo Bills defensive line has been their Achilles heel. I'll take my first rounders, first year backups every day.
1,000%.
Hopefully, I better be able to at least.
A lot of resources has gone into the defensive line, and this is the game for it to pay off, I think.
Yeah, and not to be, puss about it, but I really would like Jordan Phillips to step up and Ed Oliver step up, Daquan Jones step up, and maybe get Tim Settle back in the fold. I haven't seen him in a while, and I feel like he didn't play much last week, to be honest.
Excited for Matt Milano. I feel like he's on a vengeance.
And
Taron Johnson should want to go on a tear. I felt like that was a dirty hit last week, or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, against the quarterback on the sideline?
Hayden Hurst, no, when he got concussion against the Bengals. I feel like he should want a little bit of a revenge game in this situation.
Legally, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just like a revenge in terms of let's get a pick. Flip this game on its head, He has that capability. I would say out of all the corners, he has the biggest big game capability. That Steelers pick six, the Ravens pick six, and sealing the game versus Patrick Mahomes. Taron Johnson is low-key but high-key, possibly the most lethal defensive back we have.
He's a baller.
He might be the key to having Tyre Elam, who had a great game against the Dolphins, Trey White, who has a much better game the last 2 weeks. Got his pick, and I feel like he's playing a lot better. He played incredible against Tyreek Hill last week. And now Taron Johnson, they're going to have 3 stud corners going against 3 stud wide receivers. We're going to see who wins.
Who starts this week, Dane Jackson or Elam?
I can rotate. We don't have to do anything, special. Keep everybody fresh. Dane Jackson's full back to practice this week, participation. Maybe you see Benford this week instead of maybe a 8th or 7th wide receiver. He was inactive last week. Maybe you get him out there instead of maybe John Brown.
I think the defensive backfield's been fine. I don't think you rotate. I think you stick to one. They've been sticking to one. The only reason Elam played is because Dane Jackson got hurt.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I really wonder. Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, they've got some good defensive ends. DJ Reader, good defensive tackle. Josh Allen's played DJ Reader in the playoffs before when he was in Houston. I think the defensive line for the Bengals is a little underrated, but they don't have many sacks. The 2 of those guys combined have as many sacks as AJ Epinesa. So maybe they're good at containing the quarterback, but they're not good at getting to the quarterback.
Their linebackers are pretty weak. So
Luke Wilson's good, but I don't know if their second and third guy are any good.
If we don't do a lot of deep balls, which the Bills love to do, a lot of passes down to Cook and Singletary, open up the middle of the field.
I'm all in for attacking this team in any way possible. Dink and dunk, deep ball. I think this is a Josh Allen prove-it game. I feel like we haven't had one in a while. I think this may be one of those games where he comes out and just dunks on everybody.
I'm going to need playoff Josh to...
I think it's time. And listen, I think there was a lot of turnovers last week, and that's getting magnified, but we were at the game. I don't think those turnovers were on him. John Brown clearly ran the wrong route, broke off of it. Cole Beasley interception. That's the third time this year, maybe 4th, that a wide receiver had the ball in his hands, bounced off of him, and went to another receiver. I think it was the Jameson Crowder one, the McKenzie one, and now Cole Beasley.
That cornerback was early.
It was a defensive pass interference, I do agree, but who cares? We're past it now. Whatever happened last week doesn't matter anymore. We got to go 1-0 this week. John Brown probably not active, I'd say, and maybe you go with Benford. You got to pick and choose. McKenzie's healthy this week, so.
You saying John Brown's not going to be activated?
Yeah.
Well, McKenzie's back, so.
Yeah, I still think it's John Brown over Isaiah McKenzie.
They don't use John Brown much. Everyone loves the John Brown trade.
Yeah, but the threat might help.
Of what he used to be.
He scored a 50-yard touchdown
last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think the threat
He
is
really
valid.
values him much, though.
I do think the threat of him is valid, though. We didn't even talk about what happened with Stephon Diggs last week. First quarter, 100 yards just by himself, and then nothing for the rest of the game. I don't get that.
Is that Allen, or is that the Dolphins doubling him? I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm not sure.
Because Gabe Davis stepped it up in his absence.
But I think either or. I mean, obviously, you double Stephon Diggs, other guys are going to eat. But in addition to that, I did notice just an offensive drop-off in production. So I don't think it was just he was doubled.
It was one in overtime.
The ball did not move efficiently when Stephon Diggs was not getting the ball.
I agree. I think that he was the key for the first quarter to get up to that 17-0 lead.
So I don't think it was truly just he's double-teamed. Because that would leave another guy open. Per usual.
Gabe Davis was second. It would make sense because Gabe Davis tore it up in the second half.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, Gabe Davis stepped up. I think Gabe Davis has the potential to continue to step up. I don't think that's a complete out yet. And I'll even go further to say that I think that Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis could really eat against these guys. They've got two good safeties back there. They got Jesse Bates and another guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's pretty seasoned. There's one way to get around.
Apple's not good.
No, he's not. But
McCoy tore him up on one of the podcasts.
You gotta be careful with those.
Couldn't believe that he was still in the league.
I'm trying to think of who the corner or the safety I'm trying to think of.
While you're looking that up, we can talk about how Joe Mixon has been crying for weeks now. He's very upset that the Bills have started pre-sale on the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, he's a moron. Huh?
If you also go to your own website, Joe Mixon, you'll find that the Bengals are also selling pre-sale tickets to their theoretical next game as well. So, simmer down, buddy.
Von Bell is what I'm thinking of. Von Bell's also a good one, safety back there.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, Joe Mixon's been doing a lot of talking shit, but at the same time, if we were in the Bengals position, I think I'd be pissed off too.
Why though? It's just how it works. The Bengals are selling tickets to the Jaguars Bengals game
Because they were playing a game against us that was going to be 10-3. I think
there was 6 minutes into
they
it.
felt wholeheartedly that they could have beat us. So I get it.
Sure.
I think he's being a whiny bitch.
I bet
about
the
it,
Chargers
but I
thought
get
they
it.
could have beat the Jaguars last week. It was 27-0. It's football. You play
You
the
know,
whole
Trevor
game.
Lawrence has never lost. He's 34-0 on Saturdays.
I'm not banking on him losing this weekend either.
34 now?
College football,
Lifetime.
considering college football too.
High school, never lost. College, never lost. NFL's never lost.
Good for him.
But if they play the Bills, it'll be on a Sunday. So
Sorry, Mr. Lawrence.
Sounds like a good time to lose, brother. St. Lawrence River is running dry.
So yeah, Joe Mixon is. I'm surprised because it seems to me, and honestly, it does seem to me, the Bengals have a classier organization. So I'm a little surprised that they're allowing Joe Mixon to go off the way he is. Even with the touchdown celebration they did that week when he did the coin thing, which wasn't that disrespectful, but I'm surprised that they're allowing it because Bengals organization does seem kind of classy.
I don't believe so anymore. I think I've changed my beat on that. Fans are annoying on Twitter. They feel like something's entitled to them. Joe Mixon's annoying on Twitter. I get that Twitter's not real world, but buddy, you guys are annoying as shit. Who's the single most important contributor this week going into the game, Jake?
Stephon Diggs. We saw what he did in the first half against the Dolphins. I think it's important to continue that and exceed that possibly.
What would it take for the Bills to lose this game going into it? What are we looking at when we're talking
it's
about
all
those
on the
losses?
shoulders of Josh Allen's hands. So it's Josh Allen. It's all on the shoulders of Josh.
I
Allen.
actually say it's the whole defensive line.
You never heard of hand shoulders?
You have to get pressure on Joe Burrow. That's their weakness right now. That's why we got the guys we did in the offseason, although that guy we got in the offseason is gone. But we knew going in we needed to get the pass rush up to par.
Yeah, but
This is a game where it needs to get you to par.
I mean, he was sacked a ridiculous amount of times in the playoffs last year and made it to the Super Bowl. I don't think him getting sacked
Yeah, but
affects their offense.
besides the Chiefs, they haven't played an offense like ours.
They played
Since
last year.
Chiefs.
Who'd they play for? I don't know.
They played the Chiefs last year in the playoffs.
They lost.
They beat the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, the Chiefs lost.
I don't know who else they played, but their offense is very high powered.
Oh my God.
You need a pass rush to get them down. I think they played the Ravens at one point in the playoffs. They're a wild card team, so they played the Ravens and they also played the Raiders because I remember I was watching that game.
They played the Raiders and the Titans.
So they really haven't played high powered offenses. They have played the Chiefs and they beat the Chiefs last year in the playoffs and they beat the Chiefs this year in the regular season.
You know what, though? Last year in the playoffs, the Chiefs, it's just tough to come off those emotional high games, what they did with the Bills. It's hard to get up for the Bengals. I mean, I get that the Super Bowl was on the line, but it's tough when you pour everything onto it for 5 quarters the week before, and then you go into this game against the Bengals, and the Bengals are kind of fresh because they beat up a shitty Titans team, and they had an extra day of rest. It's different. It's 100% different. Without a doubt, it's different.
It's amazing to me though, considering everything, the Bills are pretty healthy this late in the season. That is pretty amazing to me.
Do you guys think they sneak around Hyde getting out there this week at all? Give me a percentage.
Has there been any talk about it?
0%. What do you think? He was practicing in full today, but still in the red contact jersey.
Well, 0% because didn't Mike Dermott come out and say last week he's not playing?
But he doesn't know. It could happen on tomorrow morning and be like, "Hey, I'm ready, coach." And the coach
There's
is like,
like rules in the NFL that he has to. What's he being designated as?
He's designated to return, but doesn't need to be turned on until Saturday.
No, I don't think he plays. I think there's 0 chance.
How about you? No?
0.
0. I'll leave the door open. 15% chance. How about Jamison Crowder? Not in a red contact jersey.
Fully practicing?
He's practicing it.
Well, if he plays,
You take McKenzie out.
you take
Put
McKenzie and John Brown out.
Yeah.
I think that makes our offense
Who do you cut?
better. I think you cut John Brown.
You stay on the practice squad.
I
Probably
say
get rid of a lineman, probably.
30%.
You 30%? What do you?
I would say
That's
20%.
good. That's good.
Because I don't think the Bills are going to mess with the offense. I think they're excited to have McKenzie back. I don't think they're going to mess with the offense too much.
It's a
I'd
weird
say
time.
30.
It's a weird time to bring a guy back in the playoffs after he's been out for 10, 15 weeks or whatever.
So you're not
I
taking
mean,
like
Chiefs
back?
brought back Clyde Hilaire.
I don't know if I will. I don't know if I want to. Do you take a guy that's been practicing and playing all year?
Was Dean Marlowe practicing and playing all year? I mean, he got
He's really
traded like halfway through the season.
Well,
On the trade deadline. So.
I don't know, depends on what kind of space he's
It's a
in.
tough scenario.
It's not a time to test a guy out in a game.
Well, I would test them out against the Chiefs if they make it. How do the Bills win? So you think it's on Allen's shoulders? You think it's on Diggs?
No, I think it's on Russo and the defensive line.
Yeah. I would probably say it's really on just doing the fundamentals. If they don't turn the ball over, it's going to be a shootout. It has the ability to be a shootout. If you're turning the ball over, you're losing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The Bengals make it pay. Granted, when Jonah Williams came out, the Bengals only scored once, and that was out of halftime after they got a fumble recovery.
Yeah.
They couldn't move the ball afterwards.
If it gets into like a Bills Chiefs thing, like last year, I'm taking the Bills 100%.
Because they've been there, right?
Yeah.
Don't blink, right? I mean, what are we talking about? You know, Gabe Davis talking about Von Miller putting a replica Bills Super Bowl trophy out in front of the locker room.
And you're telling me
What kind of motivation do you need? But he's right. What you said you would do anything for it. Go do anything for it.
Yeah, but you're telling me that he hasn't been throwing or catching a whole bunch of balls from the drug machine every year, all year.
No, but
He
maybe he's
needed
going the
that.
extra mile. Maybe he's
I
going the
needed
extra
that all
mile.
year. A lot of drops this year.
Possibly.
No. Score predictions. You know me, 45-10. Always.
I'm going to say 30-20 Buffalo. And we'll see you at 6:30 next week in Kansas City.
Zach.
28-14 Bengals.
Ram. First ever loss on the pod.
So you're willing to talk off-season on Monday?
No, I'm not willing to. We just won't pod until after the Super Bowl.
After the draft.
All right. If you want, okay, that would be my Bills win or my Bengals win. It's 28-14. If the Bills win, I don't know, 35-28, 35-30.
What scares you about the Bengals?
The Bills. The biggest team to
There's
beat.
nothing
the
on
Bills.
the Bengals that are concerning to you.
Sure, Burrow and Chase, but if this guy's getting time, nothing's happening. Joe Mixon hasn't had a 100-yard game since the Panthers, and he's got worse stats than Singletary. I mean, the running backs do not scare me. It's Joe Burrow getting the ball to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd with a third-string safety back there, and cornerbacks that one hasn't played for a whole full season, and the other one's a seventh-round pick and a rookie. I just don't think that, and one's got a torn meniscus. I mean, we really don't have the perfect defensive back right now. They're good, but they're not in the perfect scenario to have a perfect upset. I'd be upset if they lost, but there's only two teams that I would respect if they beat the Bills. Bengals are one of them. Chiefs are another one. If the Bengals win, or if the Bengals don't have their linemen, the Bills have to win. If Kappa plays or someone else plays, Jonah Williams or Willie Collins, which I know can't play. If one of those three guys end up dressing or suiting up, or even Trey Flowers ends up playing, I have a completely different vibe than the Bills. If they're missing those four guys, the three linemen and the cornerback, the Bills need to win that game because who the fuck are you? You're a healthy team in mid-January, in the second round of the playoffs, with a chance to go to the championship and go beat the team that you already beat once this year. If one of those guys come back, playing field's leveled out, and Bengals feel like they have a chip on the shoulder, they have a certain type of swagger that they feel like they need to have a punch someone in the mouth, and the Bills have never had that. They're humble and hungry, I get that, and that's the way they're coached. but they have never had the swagger of, I'm going to be better than you today. Maybe not talking about it. Maybe you don't need to talk about it. But Allen in press conference just he's tired. McDermott's tired. These guys have been through the ringer. Blizzard, moved games, staying in Chicago, moving to Detroit, Hamlin. I mean, Dawson Knox had his thing. Kim Pagula had her thing. This team has been through the ringer. They are exhausted. If the Bengals have more swagger than the Bills, I don't know if the Bills have much left in the tank to match their swagger come Sunday. That would be the way. But if they are down and out and they are hurt, you take advantage of that because this team is scary and you haven't beaten them yet. And last time you did see them, you're a little shell-shocked. Crazy shit happened last time you're on the field with these guys. You're going to have that in the back of your mind, without a doubt. Can you come up and rise to the occasion if the field is level with your mental exhaustion and their physical exhaustion? Can you level that playing field and match energies and just say, F it, we're going to go beat the Chiefs in Atlanta, which, by the way, 68% of the Chiefs tickets are still available. Bills section is completely sold out. So go make that a home game in Atlanta. Go win it. 35-10 Bills.